Welcome, friends. It is Friday. We have made it through another week. I'm Josh Hirsch with Susan G. Komen, Florida, and as always, my hostess with the mostest, Julia Campbell. Hi, Julia.
Hi, I am so excited you have decided to join us today, whoever is watching. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know where you're watching from, what you're working on, what you're struggling with, and we're just really excited to be here with you. It's Friday, and we were just talking a little bit about how this week seemed like 11 days and not 7 days, and I completely can respond to that. So I was saying how my daughter was sick. Oh, and also she got her a retainer, so that's fun. Another thing for me to keep track of and nag about and clean and not lose and all of that. So it was a pretty eventful week. She's turning 10 on Sunday, so we're excited about that.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, I know. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Julia Campbell, and welcome to my Facebook page. Welcome to my Facebook Live show. This is the nonprofit Social Media Nerds, and my co-host is Josh Hirsch, the Director of Mission and Communication at Susan G. Komen, Florida, apparently wearing a wig, and I can't see anything for some reason because, you know me, my technology is not working, but this is pretty exciting. It's a fun thing to do on a Friday. And what I wanted to say is during the live broadcast, if you have questions, comments, feedback, you want to say hi, make sure that you jump into the comments and you do that because we love to hear from you. So we are thrilled to have with us today my friend. I think I can say that. I stalked her all around the Philadelphia airport and to a conference in Philadelphia that we were both speaking at, Nonprofit Power, Sue Citro. She is the Chief Experience Officer for Best Friends Animal Society. And if you've ever seen any of my webinars or seen me speak, I frequently reference what they do online because they do some amazing, innovative stuff. And I know what you're saying. Yes, they have puppies. Yes, they have kitties. But honestly, some of the stuff they do is really interesting and innovative. They use virtual reality. They're using all sorts of technology to connect with their donors and provide them the best experience possible. So I'm really excited to have Sue with us here today. She is, let me see, her little bio. Her focus is on driving innovation and life-saving across the development, digital, marketing, communications, and visitor experience teams. And then what I love is that before joining Best Friends, she led digital expansions for another one of my favorite organizations, the Nature Conservancy. They do such a great job storytelling, digital media, donor retention. And she worked with them in Asia and Latin America. And she lives in Worcester, Massachusetts, with her husband, Jeremy, and her rescue dog, Marcus, the Rottweiler, who may or may not make an appearance. So is he still sleeping?
He's sleeping right now, but he's pretty into Facebook Live, so you never know what can happen.
Never know what can happen.
So can we talk about your title first? Because your title is awesome. Chief Experience Officer.
Yes, let's talk about that, honestly. Chief Experience Officer.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
It means a lot of fun stuff. What we're trying to do is really bring our marketing, all of our development, our communications, our digital, our visitor experience, and bring it all together and think about how working together we can create more magic for our visitors, our supporters, our volunteers. So I get to work with the coolest team, and we get to have fun thinking about how to make things better.
I love that.
I
love it. I mean, because Josh, yours is Director of Mission.
Sure. And my focus is on, Director of Mission and Communications. So I get to wear my nerd hat and do all the comms and social and web and that sort of digital stuff that I like. But yeah, you're right. I also do the mission, which for me is such an important focus of the organization because we are a foundation. We are a grant-making organization, so I work with all of our grantees, but also I tie that all into our communications. So as you said, what are those awesome things that we can do to create a better experience for everyone engaging with Komen on various levels?
Yeah, so what I understood when you had explained it a little bit when you spoke is that there's really no silos at Best Friends. So you're sort of managing pieces of the puzzle that create that experience for your donors and your supporters. That's sort of what I thought it was. I love that.
Very
You're
cool.
a CEO.
Well, no, I actually get the letter X in the middle of mine. I'm a CXO. So
That is
that's
awesome.
why I took the gig, because, I mean, it's kind of like Zorro. I mean, that was a Z, this is an X, but, same difference. So
Yeah, it's like user experience. That's very cool.
That's cool.
So, yeah, today we're going to focus on social fundraising. So that is a huge buzzword. It's very trendy. A lot of people don't know what it means. For me, in my work with my clients and my speaking, I talk a lot about social media and storytelling and the power of digital tools to build communities. But people get very focused on social media, ROI, how can I use it to drive donations? If I can't immediately use it to raise money, then I'm going to kind of ignore it or think that it doesn't have any value. But I really believe that, and I've always believed this, and I don't think that there's any arguing around this, that social media is completely, it's not a trend, it's not a shiny new tool. It has revolutionized the way we communicate and the way we look for information, the way we identify ourselves, the way we express ourselves. So it's almost like the Industrial Revolution. It's not a trend, and it's not something on the to-do list. So what I want to know today, I mean, Sue, we can really cover anything that you want, but I want to talk about how you define social fundraising, and then maybe some of the best practices that you can give other organizations if they're looking into creating a program like that.
Sure. Well, and I think what you were saying about social media and the Industrial Revolution, I think it's really true. I mean, I think about how social media helps me keep in touch more with my godson, right? And see him grow up even though he lives 500 or 600 miles away. So it really has become a daily part of our life. And it is a tool that's helping us to build relationships, whether they're with people we already know or people that we've met and we're getting to know better. And, that's what it's all about with fundraising. And I think sometimes we kind of think of that short term, like, I want to see the money right now. But really it's about building relationships and building trust so people will want to support your cause and feel comfortable doing it. So I think it's such a great tool to help do that. And I think while, I love the money, like always trying to make it rain, it really is first and foremost about building relationships. And so thinking about social fundraising, I like to think about it as like a two-sided coin. One side is all about the organization that I'm with and how we appeal across our channels to people to get them to engage, to get them to take up the cause, to get them to care more about our work at Best Friends. And then the other side of that is getting people to engage their networks for us. So how we can get others to mobilize for the cause and share their story and share why they're inspired to do it and why it's personal and important to them, and then leverage all of their social networks to help. So that's a little bit of kind of how I like to think about social fundraising.
What would you say? What do you have to add, Josh?
So the two main things that you keyed on there is about building relationships and about building trust. And I think that it allows that from, I'll use the word constituent, we could swap out any word there, that it's a conversation. It's somewhere that it's open, that you can actually reach out and touch a brand, reach out and touch an organization, and have that chance to give your feedback, whether that be good or bad, have a chance to engage and learn more. And, in the old way of advertising, we would talk at you. With social media and social fundraising, it allows you to create a sense of community and allows you to create that sense of togetherness, and having that opportunity and access makes such a difference.
Yeah. And I love what you said about the focus on mobilizing a community, because in my experience, what I've seen is that nonprofits look at social media, some do, as kind of a spigot you can kind of turn on and off, and they think, oh, I'll just put up a Facebook fundraiser, or oh, I'll just slap an Instagram donate sticker onto my story. And if they haven't built up that community first, if they haven't really tried to create a great user experience for their donors, or communicated with them or talked to them throughout the year, then a social fundraising campaign is not going to work. So it's really something like that. Leads me to my next question, which is, what is one way that nonprofits can get started if they are really starting from scratch on this?
Yeah. Well, I think you were just touching upon, having that strong foundation in place.
Yeah.
And I think that is definitely one of the ways to get started, to make sure you have, you know, a web page, you have an easy way for people to donate on it. Like, you've got the basics, and sometimes people say, like, I'm not sure what the basics are, but I would say think about yourself. Like, go to a cause you care about, and, like, what do you expect to see there as a person, you know, who's interested in that cause, and think about if you have the equivalent for someone interested in your cause. Another thing you need to have in place is you've got to set up Facebook Donate. So anybody who's listening today who's with a 501c3, or maybe there's a fundraising arm for the organization you're with, or you're, I don't know, I work in animal welfare, so a lot of times you have people at municipal shelters who have a Friends of group who does fundraising for them. Whatever your fundraising situation, if you do not have a Facebook Donate, you got to set one up. That would be another thing that I would say.
I think that's the future, or not even the future, it's the present of peer-to-peer. So the way I see social fundraising, is it similar to peer-to-peer fundraising? It's kind of like the same thing. It's getting your networks energized to go out and raise money for you, right, from their networks.
And I think there's also an influencer part of it too. So, you know, once you have a campaign in mind, just like you would build relationships with donors, building relationships with local influencers. So it doesn't have to be somebody, you know, with 1 million fans or followers, but look up what your keywords are, your hashtags are. Look at who's already posting content about those and engage with them. And so it might not be, you know, a lot of times with peer-to-peer, it was always about engaging your current constituents. I think as we are doing that, we're also broadening it as we think about social fundraising, to take and say, hey, you're already posting amazing nature photography. You clearly love the environment. Wow. You know, jump on in here and help us. So you can think about influencers, and it can be someone with 200 fans or followers. You want those people who are passionate about what it is that you're doing. If they're local, you can probably meet up and have coffee, or, you know, who knows what else that relationship could lead to. But think about building relationships with local influencers too.
That's amazing. Josh, do you do that? I think you do that.
We do. We definitely key in, especially as you said, with our Race for the Cure, which is 100% peer-to-peer model. So everything that you've been talking about, we key into here at Komen. You know, it's really about identifying your lead advocates, your lead, strongest supporters, and how you can engage them, and how you can provide them with the tools that they need to be more successful both in their campaigns. Like with our Facebook fundraising birthday campaign, we've put together an entire toolkit that, I saw that someone started a Facebook fundraiser on our behalf the other day. I reached out to them. That's, A, I thanked them for doing it. B, said, here's some great tools to help you be more successful in your campaign. And we're really seeing ways that we're able to engage these donors in other ways because of it.
Yeah. So what would you say to the nonprofit? This question I get all the time. Well, we can't really raise money on social media because we don't get the donor data. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know my answer to that. What would you say?
Well, and I know saying, set up Facebook Donate, some people are like, no, you don't get the data. But, I mean, yes, you don't also have fees. But I think it gives you that opportunity to just engage all the tools that are in your toolbox, right? I don't care how somebody wants to give money to me to help, dogs and cats across the country. I want to make it as easy as possible for them. And so if they want to do it on Facebook, like, by all means, please do so. I think one of the things is that you actually get to see who is finding you, like, totally special, like, wants to wear the BFF necklace with you. I like to think of it, because they're willing to give up their birthday for you. We talk about this a lot of times. We'll get calls. Someone will want to have a birthday party at our Life Saving Center. And the first time I heard that,
in Utah? The one in Utah?
We have centers in Los Angeles, Salt Lake, Atlanta, and New York. So sometimes our centers get calls, and they'll say, like, hey, we want to have a birthday party. Could we rent it out? Could we hang out, somehow help, take care of the dogs or cats? And, when I first heard about this calls, when I first joined Best Friends, I figured it was folks similar, maybe like Julia, to you, calling to say, hey, my daughter's birthday is this weekend. Yes. We do that. But a lot of times it's, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds who always just, thought that would have been fun to do as a kid. So, those are really special people who are so committed to your cause. It allows you to take and engage with them. So there's still ways you can engage on Facebook by, like what Josh was saying, thank those people who have set up the fundraiser, have conversations with them through comments. I have to believe that Facebook will continue to build out their tools to make thanking and stewarding and cultivating those relationships easier in the coming, months and years. But just identifying and knowing who those folks are and engaging them can lead to so much more. Can lead to planned giving requests, can lead to, people hosting parties for you. But that's what I see as more valuable than the actual dollars you get, is getting that committed person who's really raising their hands and saying they want to be your best friend because they're giving up their birthday for you.
Yep. I completely agree. I just was on a call with another consultant, Maureen Walbioff, and Nick Byrne from GivePanel. And GivePanel is a technology, like a database that you can use for your Facebook fundraisers and really find out who are the fundraisers. So it's not going to give you the donor data. Like if I gave $5 or I gave $20 to Josh's birthday fundraiser, it's not going to give you that information, but it is going to give you more information on how to really contact and cultivate the people, like you said, giving up their birthday. Like what I feel like I struggle with constantly, especially on Twitter, you probably have seen some of my Twitter wars with kind of the old guard of fundraising, and I love them and completely respect them. A lot of them are my mentors. This mindset shift that has to happen where we are no longer in control of where donors want to give money. We're just not. And if donors want to give money to animals and we don't have the donate button, they're going to find a way to do it. I mean, if that's the way they want to do it. So I just see it as a missed opportunity of people slamming the door on Facebook and saying, oh, no, I'm not going to do it because I don't get donor data. So I agree completely with everything that you said. I mean, these are people that have said to their networks, I want to raise money for this organization. It's the creating of that like shared identity with the organization that you said, really, that's what leads to planned gifts. That's what leads to bequests. That's what leads to major donors. So I think people can be short-sighted on social media fundraising, thinking it's a fad, thinking it's going to go away, thinking Facebook's going to pull the rug out from under us again. But I agree, it's just like a tool. I think it's like a tool in your toolbox. Do you have anything to add to that, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be versatile, as you just said, the tool is in your toolbox.
Yeah.
You need to be able to provide convenience, and I think that's something that, Sue, you really keyed in on, is that we have to make it as easy as possible for when someone is compelled to support our organization to be able to do that. So, let's not put up barriers for that.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we live in this weird multi-channel, weird world. And the one thing that seems consistent, no matter what channel you look at, no matter who's done the research, like whether it's a big company like Gartner or Forrester, whether it's, an e-commerce platform like Amazon, they all say the same thing, that no matter how they ask the question, no matter what questions they ask, people just talk about the thing that they want from brands, the things that they want from those they engage with, is to solve their problems faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, my problem today is I want to give on Facebook, or I want to give my birthday, or, it doesn't mean that I'm only going to live with you in that space, because I'm going to, go to the mall and see the printer I want to buy and then go online and try to get it for cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But we live in this weird, very fluid experience across multiple channels. And so, I would love to get the data too. I always feel bad for someone who gives us, $50 online, and I know they're not getting our Best Friends magazine, which you get when you're a member if you give 25 or more. And I always think, like, how do I get the magazine to this person? There's challenges like that, but it's all shifting and changing. And, I do believe that the easier we make things for people, the more they will seek us out, the more they will come back, and they will get to your site, and they will get to all those other channels you have, and, continue to engage with you more and more, the easier you make it for them.
Yeah, I mean, we can't continue to operate, put people in this funnel. I just don't think the donor funnel works necessarily because, like you said, there's so many touch points, and they might see an Instagram post, or they might see a Facebook post, or they might get a direct mail piece, or they might hear about you on the radio. I mean, there's a million ways that people come to us. And I think a great example of, the missed opportunity, and I've talked about this before, and I'm not going to call out the organization, but it's an organization that I love, and I actually am a monthly donor to them. And they did a Facebook Live, no, they did an Instagram Live and a Facebook Live announcing a new opening, a new program, and a new initiative. And I was like, oh, I want to donate. And then they're not set up. They don't have the donate button. They're not set up with the donate button or the sticker. And it was a missed opportunity because, for me, I could write down on a piece of paper, yes, I want to donate, and go back and remember and do it, whatever. But if you're going live, if you're connecting with your fans and with your network on any kind of social media, give them an opportunity to give in the moment when they're inspired. They're celebrating. I know. I really thought that was upsetting. I was like, and at the end, the executive director, she said, you can write a check. And I was like, okay. Well, it comes back. I don't know what's happening there.
I mean, it's a missed opportunity.
I honestly, and I'm not young. I'm not like a super young person, but I don't. It's almost like I see the job of a fundraiser differently than older people. Like, I see a job of a fundraiser as knocking down every possible barrier and obstacle to giving. Because why wouldn't you? I don't know. That makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk about something that I saw on Facebook that Best Friends did that I loved. I saw an ad, a sponsored ad for monthly donors, encouraging monthly sustainers. Does that work? Like, can you tell me more about how you use social ads to get donations?
Totally. So we do a lot with ads, and
yeah, I always use ads. I love it.
One of the things we really like with ads is it allows us to do a lot of geo-targeting. It allows us to find custom audiences. So, this is the profile of our monthly donors typically. And through the Facebook custom audience, it can help you find lookalikes. It can help you find other people who, based on the habits of your, monthly donors, for example, others that probably will be good for that too. So we create, everything from evergreen ads that we can run all the time. We have one-time giving ads. We have monthly ads. They all work in different ways. One of the ideas of reciprocity that an author I really like, Robert Cialdini, wrote about was how if you offer somebody something like to become a monthly donor and they say no, because that's not it for them, and you come back with a one-time offer, you've just sweetened the deal for them. You've made it a little easier for them. They're more likely to say yes. And so we sometimes use our ads in combination like that. We might try a monthly giving ask first, and if someone's like, whoa, that's too steep, we'll try a one-time ad next. But we do get monthly donors this way. We get them at we feel, a cost-effective way compared to some of the other channels where we've been running our sustainer program. But, it's not for us just about ads that are fundraising. We actually find to help us have more success with our monthly giving ads and our one-time ads, we also have to think about running ads that get people to really cool content about dogs and cats, or content about how they can engage with us to, help end the killing in shelters here in America, and learn about fostering, learn about adopting, learn about ways they can help in their own community. So we think of ads, as more than just that one action we want people to take, but how can we take people on a journey so they get to know us, they get to know what we're about, and then the next time they see the ad with that monthly ask, they hopefully will click and say yes.
What's your budget? Cool. What's your budget for social ads?
So it's a lot smaller than you would think. Most of the animal welfare organizations spend a lot on Facebook and on Twitter. On Facebook and just as we're thinking about our social program. But for us, we're working to invest more in it just because we've found that the targeting works really well for us. But we have a pretty lean and mean digital budget. It's not what you would think for an organization that works nationally.
It's pretty cool. I'd never seen an ad asking me to be a monthly donor. So to me, it stood out. Well, also the video was like a cat, and it was really sweet, and it was really nice. But it stood out for the fact that it had a great visual that was eye-catching, a great story, and then I'd never seen an ad asking me to do that, so I thought that was pretty cool. Do you run ads at all, or do you find that would be effective to get people to do fundraisers for you? This is a question I just saw in a Facebook group the other day.
That's cool. I don't think we've tried that, but we've seen, and we continue to see, the majority of dollars we raise on Facebook coming from Facebook fundraisers. Mm-hmm. So, I could see it working well. I know Facebook often does targeting, like, hey, Sue, your birthday's next month, pick a cause, why don't you do a fundraiser? So, in essence, maybe, some of that's happening a little bit, but I'm sure there's probably something to that would be fun to test out and try.
Yeah, so
yeah.
What you could do is, and this is something, I've been really looking at ways, because as you said, you don't need a large budget for your social ads. With really good retargeting and creating those lookalike audience based upon high engaging posts that you've already had, you can keep a really low cost per click rate to really drive through what you're trying to do. So when you're creating those target audiences, you can target based upon birthdays. So you could create an October campaign in late August, early September, prime them for 30 days and say, hey, we know you've got a birthday coming up. Why don't you dedicate your birthday to Tacoma, Florida? And here's a great, toolkit that can help you be more effective with your campaign. So it does not take a lot of dollars. It doesn't really take a lot of time. It does take some understanding. And what we can do, it's incredible. One of the latest tools that I have in my Facebook ads arsenal is the Facebook ads library, which I think is really
I
cool.
love this.
So you can sit there and see what others are doing. So in theory,
and how much they're spending,
you can,
and what they're spending it on, so the ad probably worked.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I know. It's like
I may have looked at some political candidates and been shocked by the amount that they've spent. The tens of millions of dollars in social ads. And you can see who they're targeting and what copy and what graphics they're using for specific targeted audiences. Look at your competition. We use that word competition, but we're all in this to make the world a better place. But learn from them and see what are better, well-performing ads for them. Copy and steal.
Yeah.
Could you post a link to that, Josh, in the comments?
Yes, I can. We certainly can. And we see people are coming in with various questions. We'll be sure to get back to them at the end. But Julie, you're getting some mad shout-outs for your shirt right now.
Yay! And I'm a monthly donor to Moms Demand Action, so they're one of my favorites. Follow Shannon Watts on Twitter. That's kind of how I rage donate a lot of the time. But I've been a monthly donor to Moms Demand Action for probably like 3 years now. They're one of my favorite organizations. So I am a firm believer in monthly donations, because then you just don't think about it, and you get special perks, and I just really like it. But some organizations do treat you much better, and I don't donate obviously to be treated well. I did donate the amount to get the shirt. I think it was like $50 or $60 or whatever. But I definitely, don't, just in my line of work. But it is nice to get recognized, and it is nice to be appreciated and feel appreciated, and we know that that's a huge piece of donor retention. Mm-hmm. So another question that I had, and then I think we can go to questions. Do you use anything else at Best Friends? Do you use YouTube giving tools or Instagram, or what do you kind of see as the next frontier, even beyond Facebook? Do you have any other tools that you use?
Yeah, it's hard not to talk about Instagram, right? The engagement on Instagram is 10 times that of what we see on Facebook. There's, I feel like shoes, yoga pants, beach towels, everything seems to be purchased lately on Instagram. And I'm super excited for donations to catch up. And, I think that's the next thing to be figured out. Yeah. I love that it's been figured out in so many ways for e-commerce, but we've got to figure it out. I just feel like it's a field of conversion waiting to happen. And, a lot of times I feel like digital fundraising trends change during presidential elections. So kind of curious to see if that's maybe when it gets figured out or what. I mean, there's a sticker now. There are ways that you can donate and have people donate through Instagram, but I think there's a lot of education that still needs to happen. So that's one thing that you can do, is to train your fans and followers how to donate on
It's
Instagram.
so easy. It's so easy to do it. Okay. What about YouTube?
We're doing more and more with YouTube. I mean, everything video seems to work for us. I think that's true not just for us. I think that's true across all nonprofit sectors. You know, video ads work for us on Facebook. We all seem to be into, motion. I mean, thinking about all the GIFs we use, GIFs in everyday life. So, and I think what's cool about video is a lot of times it feels like, or there's this feeling that as a digital marketer, as a social marketer, I've got to have the best video. But really, people just want to be part of it. They want to be part of the experience. They want to see what it's like behind the scenes. And sometimes that, shaky on your phone, there's nothing better than that. It's you being you and being authentic and real. And that's what we're after, really. I mean, if you think about what you want out of the causes you love or the experiences, or to see what your friend's doing, it's not about, production quality. It's about just feeling like you're part of it.
Sue, you're like been speaking my language all day with everything you're doing. It does not, and that's what gets me, is it does not have to be high production value. Right here, we are all reporters. We all can go Facebook Live at any time and provide a behind the scenes. Let me lift the velvet rope access to our organization. Let me take you into the shelter and show you this is how we brush a dog. This is how we clip their nails. And I know it sounds silly, but like, those are things people want to see.
People love that
yes.
stuff. And it always comes back to your audience. So it's not even about what you would find interesting. It's about what your audience finds interesting and what resonates with them. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So
one of my favorite things when I worked at the Nature Conservancy, we actually moved buildings, and the trend didn't continue after, but for so long, someone would post a photo, and this was years and years ago. Someone would post a photo on social media, like every couple of weeks, on what was on the free stuff table in the kitchen on the 4th floor. And I mean, the amount of content, like everyone would wait, like, what is on the table today? It was this weird thing of like a picture frame, computer paper, Kool-Aid. People would be like, who brought Kool-Aid? It was, but you just kind of want to see behind the scenes, and it was.
I love that idea, by the way. Who would have thought of that? That's so brilliant.
And it was just like there were so many random things one day. Someone just took a picture and said, like, how did all these things end up in the office building to begin with? But it can be that simple to make people feel like they're seeing, behind the curtain, as Josh is saying.
Yeah, it's all about humanizing your brand. It's like when the digital media director of NPR accidentally wrote a Facebook post about his daughter, Ramona. And if you Google NPR Ramona, it's a whole thing. They did a bunch of stories on it. But his daughter, I think, was 1, and she really wanted a kitten, and it was something about that. And it had nothing to do with NPR. Everyone completely lost their minds. They loved it, and they deleted it, and then they apologized, and everyone said, what are you talking about? That was the best thing you've posted. It was so... And it was a day when there was particularly heavy news, which is every day now. But it was really uplifting, and it just showed the humanity of the digital lead, and it was really cool. People love that stuff. So
I agree, people do love that stuff.
So I see the only question I see on my phone is from Beth, and she's saying, what is not a large budget, $50 per month, $100. I don't think we're gonna have Sue make her name her number over here, but for me, I think that experimenting, if you're a tiny nonprofit, experimenting with $50 or $100 a month, and then you can see if you are promoting an event or you're promoting a fundraiser, you can actually see that ROI.
Yes.
So, and then you might get more comfortable promoting things that are a little bit softer, that you can't actually track, like, oh, this person donated because of this post. So I just recommend experimenting and kind of seeing what happens. I mean, Josh, what do you guys do at Komen? I know you use ads a lot.
Right, we do use ads a lot, especially around the race. It comes back to old school messaging, and it's A/B testing. So create similar, social ads. Take a small amount of budget. Take $5. Take $10 into each ad. Have same copy, change image, or have same image, change copy. run both to targeted audience. Could be the same audience or could be the same ad to different audiences. I mean, there's so many iterations that you can do, but test it as you go along. After a couple of days of performance, all right, well, this one is outshining the other one, so pause the other ad set and then dump your dollars into the other. We've run a couple ad campaigns recently tied around this great video that we shot about one of our current breast cancer survivors who is going through treatment right now. And we ran a couple different ads targeting one thing, and then I did some retargeting of those ads, and our click-through rate costs went so much lower because of creating a better audience, retargeting a previous audience, and then creating a lookalike audience from that. So yes, I could sit there and type in the various interests that I want to target, but as opposed to doing that, I took people who already engaged with my content and then created a similar looking audience. There's so many, like, it's just, these are the things that, like, I nerd out about. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I know for the social media summit, John Hayden was promoting some of my videos. So, because cost per click is lower on videos than any other kind of content. And he schooled me on this. I'm not a Facebook ads expert in any way. But what I loved about it was he was saying, well, then you get a lot of engagement on your videos and a lot of attention, and then we can send an ad about the summit to those people that watched your video for a certain amount of time. Or I love that it's just so customizable, and you can really, and then you can end it if it's not working. You can add more money to it. So I don't know.
It's helpful. Even $20. Like, I think sometimes you feel like what can you really get for $20 today? But the amount that you can actually see what that, it's funny. I feel like a Facebook ad, if you spent $20, what you get back in terms of who you reached and the impact it had, I feel like that's what donors want to know for the $20 they give you. It's like a weird thing, but you get so much intel and so much information, and not intel in the bad way, like, Jimmy Jojo was talking about this on his page or something, nothing like that, but just in terms of like who's actually interested, or which photo from your carousel they liked more, or whatever it might be, what part of that A/B test worked better, like Josh was talking about. And it does give you ideas, it does give you insights. I know one group spends $20 to test different headlines and different ads and copy before they mail some things to their direct mail list, which I think is interesting. I've heard people doing that, like, test 2 different emails and see what works better, maybe do direct mail. But this, I think, is actually even maybe a better way to get some insights for that.
I love that. All right, well, I think we're gonna wrap up. I can't see anything.
We have one more question. We have one more question from. We got a couple other things. So Ebony has a question. Ebony wants to know, and it kind of goes back to what we spoke earlier. Any suggestions for new small organizations about building an online community? Should we try Facebook groups?
I don't know. I think yes and no. It depends.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in trying anything and everything. It can't hurt you. It can't go bad. I feel like life is a pilot, so go for it. What I like about Facebook groups and some of the Facebook groups that we run is that we're able to really easily have volunteers step up to moderate the group, step up to drive engagement in the group, ask questions, and kind of engage people beyond just our core staff. So it's not going to happen overnight that like this group is just going to appear and hundreds of people will go in it. You're going to have to promote it. You're going to have to talk about it. But I think it's a worthy thing to try out and see what happens. I know one group that I've been involved with locally, they have a Facebook page, which they've grown to probably about 1,200 folks. And then they started a Facebook group to have more engagement and allow more people to participate. So you can kind of think about, how are you going to get those people? What assets do you already have that you could leverage, to get them there? Is it that they're all going to be volunteering this weekend? Is it all that they've come out to your gala? Like what different ways can you kind of get that started? That's what comes to mind for me. But Julie and Josh, I feel like you'll have lots of ideas on that too.
I get this question a lot, and I always say that a Facebook group needs to be around a topic and not an organization. So it can't just be everyone that loves this, whatever your organization is, it needs to be around the love of the cause and the love of the topic. And the more specific and niche you can get your group, the more personalized, the better. Because then people join Facebook groups all the time, but they'll feel this is really me. This is for me. What you want is people to say, these are my people. This is, people like us do things like this. And I always use that Seth Godin quote. But I completely agree with what Sue said. I think just, try it. Have fun with it. Understand, though, that a Facebook group is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And you have to build it up, and then it's crickets in the beginning. And Josh and I both manage the nonprofit social media storytelling group, which is blossomed and bloomed and is an amazing group now. But sometimes it's crickets, and then there's spam, and then there's this, and you have to be in it and monitoring. So it's a lot more work, I think, than a Facebook page, but it can yield a lot more benefits. I think so. All right. And I see this comment from Abraham, which I can actually see comments for some reason. He said, I want to do behind the scenes videos, but I'm concerned with privacy of families at our organization. I feel like we could do our staff, but I'm not sure if I need to set up a full schedule for it. I don't want to post a few videos and kill the momentum. Okay. Let's unpack this question. So I think that sharing video is very important. I also think that even if you do a series of videos, and then you don't do videos for a couple of weeks or a month, I think that's completely fine. I would love, to see the videos spread out a little bit more. If you're not comfortable with video around your clients, start with staff, start with volunteers, start with board, community members, start with low-hanging fruit before you dive into getting permissions and talking to the people that have actually been impacted. I don't know, do either of you have any other advice on storytelling and video with vulnerable populations, because it's a big topic?
Yeah, we obviously deal with people that are going through treatment. Some may be actively in treatment, some might be 10 years of survivor. It's the comfortability level of your interviewee subject to be able to really determine. So I would say it's kind of a case-by-case basis. You have to know what would be appropriate. If you're a battered women's shelter, probably showing a behind-the-scenes of these women isn't the best thing, because they are in, could
crisis.
Be in the immediate crisis right now. So they might not be the best. So you really need to know your audience. You need to know your subject matter. So I don't think there's one hard answer.
Yeah.
And I think there's ways you could get creative still with staff, right?
Yes.
Like if you were a battered women's shelter, having folks give you testimonials, having your staff, read them, record them. I think there's ways that you can get creative so that the true feeling that people have and appreciate the service and the support that the community is giving them can be surfaced and out there, but in a way that still respects people's privacy. I would also, if you start with your staff, as you post those videos, ask people to get in touch if they have a story to share. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to put the call out for user-generated content. So maybe it might not be the clients you have today, but maybe it's someone who received your services before or has a similar story to share. But I love anytime you can have the opportunity to put out a call for user-generated content and have more people share their story as well, similar to what you're doing.
I love that. And I'm going to put links to two of my favorite organizations in the comments. One is Rosie's Place in Boston, and they constantly share video content featuring their staff. They do a lot of content with clients, but they do a lot with staff. And the second is Amira Incorporated. They don't do any video content with clients. They work to save people from sex trafficking situations in New England, which is crazy. But their executive director is the face of the organization, and their development director, and they're always doing videos talking about milestones people have reached, telling stories that the person that they're telling the story can't tell for themselves. So those two, I will post links to both of their Instagrams are pretty amazing. So, wow, it was 45 minutes. We try not to go this long, but it was such a great conversation.
Great conversation.
Yeah. So, Sue, where can we find out more about you and Best Friends?
Well, our website's bestfriends.org. Our Instagram is a lot of fun, so Best Friends Animal Society. Some of the photos, I'll tell you, sometimes there's a little too much cuteness, so you got to be prepared.
Yes.
And I'm on Twitter at Sue Citro.
Awesome. And Sue is speaking at the Nonprofit Social Media Summit, August 29th. We still have some tickets available. I cannot believe how fast time is flying, and it's coming up, and it's really exciting. So we'll post the link to that. And I just encourage you to, learn more about Best Friends, learn more about Sue. And we'll be back next Friday with Suzu Wong. I believe that's right, Josh.
I believe so. I think you're right.
Okay. Next Friday at noon with Suzu. She's speaking at the summit on Facebook ads, and we're going to dive into a lot more about different ways nonprofits, even small nonprofits with tiny budgets, can use Facebook ads to really kind of amplify what they're doing, amplify their message. So we appreciate you spending time, and thank you so much, Sue, for joining us. And we will see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.